Hey yo, I am the star in any room that I stand in. I am the standout, you just my stand-in. These bitches copy my homework, that's what they hand in. That's why I'm private like the airports I land in. Life is a beach house, don't let the sand in. I ball in any arena, go let the fans in.
What's up, y'all? I hope all is well. So in this video, I'm going to be responding to a comment that was recently left under my video where I was discussing a woman accusing light-skinned women and dark-skinned men of engaging in a race play. So I will have the video linked in the description box below, obviously, and I will, put the video on the screen because I've changed the title a few times, so I don't remember what it's called now. But I would recommend you watch that first video in its entirety so you can really get my take on the situation and know the context of this conversation and the context that this comment was left in. You're going to be really lost if you just hear me respond to this comment. So if you have not already, please go watch that video first. So assuming you watch that video, I'm just going to get started. And so the interesting central theme in both of these comments is this separatist narrative that I feel like is honestly being pushed by two sides, and they kind of play off each other. And it's interesting because I've noticed this dynamic happening on within this conversation a lot, where you kind of have two groups of people who are kind of saying the same thing but speaking from different perspectives, and both claiming that they're the victim of said situation, which I find very interesting. And so with the first video that I reviewed, or the first piece of content that I reviewed in the first video, it was a African woman basically trying to make a separation distinction between light skin and dark skin people based on relationships, and then this person is trying to do the same thing, but they're speaking from a light skinned perspective. So I find this narrative to be really problematic, and this is why I'm responding to it, even though I've noticed this since even before I started to make content. I noticed this way back when they were other people making content, like 6 years ago, doing the same stuff. People are not here anymore. I noticed this issue as well, and I'm not the first light-skinned black woman to point this out, or even like biracial women have pointed this out as well, that there's a huge like separatist movement kind of within this, that, now I'm not going to say huge, but there's a very loud vocal minority, I think, that is using this colorism Inc. situation that's happening on social media to push a separatist narrative. And I've never liked that, because I didn't get on here because I wanted to separate from other black women or different skin tones or different ethnicities or whatever, or because I have an issue with being called black or a light-skinned woman. I don't know what this issue is. Like, I do think that if you have mixed ancestry, I do think that there's a movement that needs to be had of people just becoming more okay with that. But I've never liked how people connected this whole like mixed people, accepting our mixedness in a separatist black, in a way that's like separatist from the greater black community. That's why I never liked the whole mixed is not black narrative. Not because I don't agree that being monoracial and being mixed are different, because they are different. Being biracial and being monoracial is different. Whether you be highly admixed, or actually parentally biracial, as having two parents from different races, because your upbringing and who raises you and your family structure makes a huge difference. So it's not that I ever disagreed that there are distinctions between people of African descent, but I always kind of got this vibe that people were just kind of using that movement that does need to take place as a way to be like, oh well, these people, we need to just separate just in general. And I just feel like that's really stupid and weird, because no other group of people operates like this. I would also appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are not already and the content resonates with you. Welcome, as well as making sure you hit the bell for notifications so you'll be informed every time I upload a new video or go live. I'd also encourage you to check out my Patreon, where you can access old and exclusive content, as well as having early access to new uploads. That will be linked in the description box below. And then people want to sit up here talking about, oh, it's because of slavery, because of what happened, the mythical Willie Lynch letter, whatever. There are plenty of ethnicities all around the world, no matter where they are, that have used way worse colorism stuff to differentiate people based on class and, marriage and ethnic group and things like that. Black Americans or people in the Americas have not had it the worst when it comes to colorism issues or just color dynamics. So no, this whole all of a sudden we need to separate based on ethnic or based on skin tone or based on somebody, being mixed, when we literally create each other, and this has been going on over 500 to 700 years, is ridiculous. And I just always felt like that shit was weird, and I never really spoke that much about it. I was just gonna do my commentary, but I just kind of find it annoying, especially when I get comments like this that are trying to push that narrative on my channel, when that's clearly not what I'm doing over here. I don't have an issue with being black. I don't have an issue with being considered a black person. I just don't want to be basically gaslit or shamed about being genetically mixed, because I can't control that. Being black or being, whatever nationalities that I come from, that is just a label based on humans, and territories and how we categorize people. You know what I mean? Like, y'all take that shit way too seriously. It's really not that deep. You know what I mean? Like, if you know who you are, you're not going to be so pressed about what you're calling yourself, what you're considered, and about what other people are. Especially, only insecure people are hyper fixated on other people's identities and how they identify. And that's another central theme that I've noticed here, that's a similarity between the dark-skinned people that push this separatist narrative, as well as the light-skinned and mixed people. They all come off as highly insecure to me. But anyway, so this is just like my prefix to my commentary before I get into the actual comment. But yeah, like, I've been thought that shit was weird. Like, I don't have an issue being black. I never got up here because I want to separate dark skin and light skin people. That shit is weird. Like, that's not and that's not even ever what I've ever preached before. This is why I low-key know that this is probably not my target demographic anyway that's speaking, because I've always been about bringing women of all skin tones and races even under a common understanding and common respect. So why this comment was even left is really interesting to me. But yeah, I don't think this person is in my target demographic anyway. But anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, so let's get into the comment because it's a lot to get into. So the name that this person has is kind of feminine, but it's a little gender neutral as well. So I couldn't tell based on, any indicators if this was a man or a woman, but just judging based off the rhetoric that's being used and the talking points, I believe that this is a man, me personally. And a lot of men will pretend to be women online and will pretend to be women in order to get into women's spaces and say stuff. I know for a fact that this happened in my comment section before. So I feel like this is a man that's trying to be like gender androgynous, so that they don't get clocked basically. So anyway, so this person starts off by saying, light-skinned people have always been a different ethnic group from dark-skinned people. She is implying light-skinned people belong with light-skinned people on the other side of the track. So I feel like this first paragraph is already starting off with the stupidity. Being light skinned or being dark skinned or brown skinned, whatever, are descriptive terms that are translated in different languages, that are used in different contexts based on the country, nationality, ethnicity, whatever. Those are simply descriptive terms. That's like saying, oh, all redheads are the same ethnic group. Like, that shit doesn't make any sense. That's like saying all brunettes are the same ethnic group. Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. Like, so there's a huge level of like miseducation as well. And you have a lot of people who, be loud and wrong just saying things. And I do have a degree in ethnic studies. I went to school for this, and I'm not saying that in an elitist type of way, but it's like, what's the point of people from certain groups getting educated about stuff if you're not going to teach the rest of the group the proper way to think about stuff? It's like trickle down knowledge in a way, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of misinformation online about slavery and like colorism and all this type of stuff, because people who actually do real research, they never push back on any of the nonsense that's ever pushed. And that's why we're in this situation now where you have people using a historic facts to try to justify why light skin and dark skin people are like two different groups, which is just weird. Again, no other group of people moves like this to my knowledge. And if they do, your ass is not seeing it. They're doing it in private. You wouldn't even know what type of color issues Asians have because they keep their drama on the DL. But you got black people all on TikTok airing out everybody's dirty laundry and shit. But anyway, so an ethnicity is, the lay explanation is, an ethnicity or an ethnic group is a group of people who identify with each other on the basis of perceived shared attributes that distinguish themselves from other groups. It says ethnicity refers to a person's background and cultural heritage, encompassing shared traditions, language, ancestry, and beliefs. It's a sense of belonging to a particular cultural group, and so again, per the definition of ethnicity and the definition of descriptive terms such as light skin and dark skin, again, this person's starting off paragraph is stupid, because people who are the different skin tones are still the same ethnicity. They would have had a better argument if they had said considered a different race. Maybe in certain contexts you could use that, but even then I don't even feel like that would be entirely accurate. A good example is how in colonial Haiti, so the mixed race people did have their own racial category, you know, as on their census or whatever, but they were all ethnically Haitian because that's their nation that they come from, and that's the culture that they all are a part of, even if they're different ancestrally. Just like they were literally white Haitians who were born there on the island of Saint Domingue at that time, who are racially white, but they grew up in Haiti. You know what I mean? Like, so because this stuff is never corrected, and you know there's a lot of misinformation about that, is how a lot of these silly narratives get to continue to be pushed. But then this person goes on to say dark skinned people use a lot of reverse psychology tactics on light skinned men and women. I guarantee if she made this song about her counterpart light skinned men, there would be a huge uproar, 10,000%. I mean, and to a degree I do agree with the first part of what they're saying, because that is actually true. Like, we see it on social media in real time all day every day. So they're not wrong about what they're saying about the psychological tricks that are played on light skinned and mixed people. They're absolutely right. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure this song didn't specify a certain skin tone. Like, I don't think this song was about dark skinned men. So like, I'm a little confused. Like, you know, you can kind of apply it to anybody. They just market certain couples, or they use certain imagery to sell products or to promote something, or in a music video, based on what they believe will produce the most income for them to extract. So if these white media companies are getting the message from the black community that they want to see light skinned women and dark skinned men promoted, well, they're going to promote where they feel like the bag resides. You know what I mean? So it's like, honestly, it's nothing personal, just business. They probably know that the black community is not really receptive to images of certain types of light skinned couples. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. But they know what types of images communities respond to. They have Pew Research and all this type of stuff on that. That's why Colorism Inc. is a thing. But yeah, she could easily apply this song to any phenotype of black men. So I don't understand why this person is personalizing the song so much. But I do agree, if she were to make a song specifically about light skinned dudes, yeah, people would have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, everybody socially is on code in the black community and knows that the only people who you're really allowed to make songs about would probably be a dark skinned man. Now, people wouldn't have an issue with you making songs about a dark skinned woman, but let's be for real here. The only people who are going to be listening to the song is other black women. If a black man is making a song, or if a black woman is making a song, we already know that black male worshipers elevate dark skinned men to the highest degree. So, you know, yeah, light skinned men might catch some strays, you know, some compliment strays, but we know black male worshipers, you know, that's pretty much what they're going to do. So we know that if they're going to promote a successful song about any skin tone, it would be it would make most sense to make it about a dark skinned man, not because they care so much, but because they're thinking about what's going to generate the most income. But anyway, the song had nothing to do with skin color. So that's what I'm saying. There's a common focus from the people who have these separatist narratives, whether they be dark skinned women or this suspected light skinned mixed man, I suspect. They seem to have this hyper fixation on skin color and race and stuff like that. But I mean, I do agree that if she made a song about light skinned men specifically, people wouldn't like it. But anyway, so then it goes on to say light skinned women and dark skinned men are two different ethnicities historically, so it does tie into race play for sure. They don't promote light skinned couples in America because they fear the light skinned class and they know they can't compete with us as a group. We would be too powerful. But anyway, so they go on to say they don't promote light skinned couples in America because they fear the light skinned class. So that's kind of what I was getting to a little earlier. I was talking about how I believe that the black community is receptive to certain images of light-skinned people. For example, Krishan and Blueface. They were the hottest thing since sliced bread for like 3 years straight. And they're a light-skinned couple and people were highly supportive of them. So we can't always make that argument that they hate on light-skinned couples. Do they hate on them sometimes? Yeah, but it seems like they like a certain archetype. So in my opinion, maybe Glorilla wouldn't have done that bad doing if she had pulled a Krishan Rock. I don't know. But yeah, I think they want to see a certain type of light skinned person promoted. And then this narrative that this person goes on to say, oh, they America fears a light skinned class. Now, do I think that, prejudiced white Americans don't want to see a class of uppity Negroes who are educated and have their own money? Yeah, that's always been a thing. They've always had an issue with that. But I'm gonna just be honest with you, these modern day light skinned and mixed people that's running around are not the talented 10th of yesteryear. Like, let's be fucking for real here. We do not got a bunch of Edie Du Boises running around, a bunch of Malcolm X's. No, absolutely not. Like, we don't have a bunch of these are not intellectuals that we're talking about. We're talking about Krishan and Blueface. That is the majority of what we're dealing with. That is more common than the latter. And now they're an extreme case, but it seems like everything's on a spectrum of ratchetness. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the black community in general today is doing that's so miraculous and so revolutionary and so progressive that people of African descent have these like grand gestures of delusion where y'all believe that white people are so threatened by your existence and what you're doing. It's like, bro, they have literally been exploiting the black community for like 500 years. It's been almost 70 years out of the civil rights movement, and things have gotten low-key kind of worse internally for the black community. And I just want to go on a quick rant for a second and just get something off my chest that's been irritating me, and another reason why I decided to respond to this comment. I don't know where and why all of a sudden in the last 4 to 5 years people are acting like light-skinned black Americans aren't just black and can't just be black women. Like, I don't understand all these coming up with this revisionist history, the fancy terms, trying to act like every single light-skinned black person is mixed. Like, I just find this really strange. And again, I don't know if this person is American or not. I suspect some of these people are not American, but I also suspect a lot of these people are just engaging in revisionist history like a lot of y'all do. I mean, you've been trying to use pretending Indian narratives to try to separate from Africans. Y'all been trying to say everybody's grandmama was a Cherokee princess. Why is it hard to believe now that a lot of this isn't just about self-hatred and y'all's everlasting quest to try to separate yourself from African ancestry? It's just weird to me. And again, this is not the first time this has come up, and I'm not the first person to say this. Elon Jones was talking about this at one point as well. Like, light-skinned black people are black. Like, we did not come on here because we wanted to separate from black people. Like, that's some other shit that other people came up with. I can't speak for that. I simply didn't like the pathologizing, the stereotyping, and the propaganda being put out about light-skinned and mixed people. That is all I came on here to push back against. I did not come here to try to separate from being black. So I don't, y'all, I feel like y'all are projecting onto other light-skinned people. Y'all are projecting onto light-skinned black people. Some people really are, because it's like, if you want to separate, if you want your own term, that's great, whatever, that's fine. But those of us who, like, we have two brown skin parents, you know, I'm multi-ethnic, so of course I have my own perspective on things. But just like Lorilla, I'm a light-skinned woman as well with two brown skin parents. She just is full black American, and I'm multi-ethnic. But yeah, like, we don't have an issue with being black, so I don't really understand where this is coming from. I feel like some of y'all have an issue with being black and you're trying to project that onto us, which is a great segue back into my commentary about this individual. So then this person goes on to say, but let's not act like black women in general, especially light-skinned women. But I thought you said light-skinned people were a separate ethnicity. But first you saying black women in general. So which one is it? You see what I'm saying? They're constantly contradicting themselves, and their logic really don't make sense in the grand scheme of thing and off YouTube world. Your logic really don't be making sense like that. But anyway, because they really will play these games and try to act like all of these people aren't black women simply because of their skin tone or hair texture or any other physical attributes, as if other races don't have different physical attributes too, and they don't try to pretend like they're a whole different group. Yet this is some weird shit that black people do. It's just annoying. But anyway, so this person says, but let's not act like black women in general, especially light-skinned women, don't fetishize street dudes and hood people. In general, I always see light-skinned women trying to intimidate a hood, dark-skinned chick and her mannerisms. The street dude doesn't even have to be a street dude. He just have certain intangibles that remind them of one, which is dark brown skin, dreads, and tattoos. So there's a lot to unpack there. So I find it interesting that this person says that black women fetishize street and hood dudes, because the dude in this video was in the Glorilla music video is not a hood dude. So I'm not really understanding why this person is so fixated on class and who's hood and who's not. And I'm going to say something that I have to be honest about, but do have to point out because it's important, but I'm going to come to that in a second. So then this person goes on to say, in general, I always see light-skinned women trying to intimidate a hood, dark-skinned chick in her mannerisms. So I'm not comfortable at all with this association with people being hood or ratchet or ghetto with skin tone, because as I already stated before, we know that light-skinned black people are black as well, and they're also a part of Black America. I don't know why we're acting like we're not all of a sudden, but anyway. So therefore, if they're a bunch of hood dark-skinned chicks, then that means that they're a bunch of hood light-skinned chicks too. And we all know, especially if you grew up in actual black communities, you know that this is true. So I don't understand why y'all continue to try to push this narrative that dark-skinned women are the ghetto ones, and then it's just like a whole bunch of just bougie, just Whitleys running around the hood. It's like, that's not how the world is. If you're in an environment where there are a bunch of Whitleys that are light skin or mixed, there are going to be a bunch of dark skin or brown skin Whitleys that are brown, that are bougie as well. If you're in a hood environment where there are a bunch of brown skin and dark skin Keishas, you're gonna have a bunch of light skin Keishas as well, light skin and mixed Keishas who act like they from the regular hood, the hot Cheetos girls or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm so tired of y'all trying to make this association of people's characteristics or their mannerisms or even their class based on skin color. It's really ignorant, and I mainly see black people enforcing these notions. I don't even see non-black people saying crap like this. And so when this person's like, oh, I see light-skinned women trying to intimidate hood dark-skinned girls, it's like, what are you implying? Light-skinned and dark-skinned people can be from the same set of parents. They can be in the same family, so they have the same mannerisms because they're in the same culture, environment, family, everything. Like, why are you making it seem like, oh, if a light-skinned person is ratchet, that they're only just copying what dark-skinned people are doing? And you notice he's trying to make this implication, because I'm 90% sure this is a man, because generally light-skinned women, whether we be light-skinned black women, Afro-Latina, biracial, multiracial, from different places in Africa, whatever the case may be, generally we are not the ones who have hostility and an issue with our black identity. We're just not. We are generally, especially by the time we're adults, and more into our womanhood, we are generally pretty self-assured in our racial identity and comfortable with who we are. It is what it is. That doesn't mean that we're the most wokest person. That doesn't mean that we're not. But in general, I feel like we are way more well adjusted than these men are. So this constant hyper focus on, oh, black women are wearing fake hair. Oh, black women are bleaching. Oh, y'all are doing this and that. Oh, self hatred. You dating Brad. Y'all do all of that as a distraction to distract away from the fact that y'all really do have the most self-hating group of men on the planet. Let's just be real here. And I don't know why y'all try to act like the mixed and light-skinned men are not the same way, like they're not growing up in the same culture. And black women will play these games too and try to act like light-skinned and mixed guys are so much more open-minded. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me right now, right? Like the amount of lies and just the constant manipulation of the truth and the narrative to try to put out a more favorable one is just so irritating to me. But I forgot how I got on this rant. But oh yeah. And like, if this is a light-skinned black person, then this person is definitely self-hating and dealing with some internalized anti-blackness. Because if you grew up in a black environment, and you know that people can be multiple different shades in the same family, but you still trying to act like certain attributes are based on skin tone, then you're just really ignorant and self-hating, and that's probably why you're trying to run for your blackness. I don't know. It's the patterns are patterning. And I just had to get this off my chest. Like, it just is what it is. I'm not trying to stereotype anybody. I'm just speaking on what I've observed. And yeah, I don't like that. This respect has to be mutual, like. So then the comment goes on to say, I have audio of light skinned women fetishizing dark skinned men not because she likes them, they just remind her of street dudes. It's other intangibles that darker men show that light skinned men don't, like charm, charisma, confidence out of darker men. And like, this comment is so ignorant and stupid because it's like, if you're both black men, whether somebody be light skinned or dark skinned, y'all have the same culture. So that's another thing I was gonna say with the whole like tattoos and dreads thing. Like, literally a biracial man who's light skinned named Bob Marley popularized dreadlocks throughout the entire world. Like, what are you talking about? There are plenty, just like Blueface, I just said, there are plenty of black men that are light skinned, that are tatted up and have that quote unquote thug aesthetic. Mind you, there was no thugs even involved in the situation at all. You the one that's over here bringing up street dudes and bringing up hood culture. Like, you sound pressed right now. And then just being like, oh, like they don't have the charisma and confidence of darker men. And it's like, don't y'all complain about dark skinned men saying that light skinned men are weak? It's like, you doing the same thing. I'm not saying like, oh, you gotta like be the bigger man or turn the other cheek or whatever. But it's like, the mudslinging for the insecure people in the black community really do go both ways. And then they try to encompass every skin tone into it and be like, oh yeah, I'm speaking for the dark skinned women, oh, I'm speaking for light skinned women. No, you're speaking for yourself and your own insecurities and internalized issues. Okay, that's not, you're not speaking for all light skinned people. Okay, because most light skinned people would not agree with this comment, because most light skinned people are actually black. So I'm confused on how only dark skinned people are ghetto. Like, so there just no light skinned people in the hood. Like, this comment is just weird. And so then they go on to say, would have this in society, would have this in society when the black community is pro dark skinned man and anti mulatto male. Then they go on to say, it's also funny that everyone knows who the real black man is. There are no other shades. It's only dark skinned men and those who are the ones y'all groupie over. But when it comes to the real black women, it's multiple shades of them. Truth is, light skin, like brown women are mulattoes and dark brown women are black women. Also, why don't you ever see light skinned women big up their own men? They act like their own men, sons, etc. are inferior to dark skinned black men. See, this is why I'm saying that this is a man, because men always want to censor themselves in every conversation. This video didn't have jack shit to do with light skinned men. Nobody spoke anything negative about them. Nobody even bring their asses up. Here he come, projecting whatever issues he got, with whatever his ex-girlfriend or something. I don't know what I don't know what angle this person is speaking from. But yeah, I'm not even gonna address the amount of stupidity in that last part of the comment, because y'all already know how I feel about that. But yeah, this whole rewriting of the narrative using old language and old English to describe mixed people, and yeah, I just don't appreciate the rewriting of history to fit your narrative. And I feel like it's really problematic. And yeah, that's literally what I went to go to school to push back against. Anti-intellectualism exactly like this. I'm trying to think if there's anything pressing that I want to address. Oh yeah, but this is also why I had made a post about the whole mulatto term, and a few of y'all did want me to make a video about my thoughts about it, which I don't really have like a strong opinion about it, which is why I didn't. But yeah, I just feel like it's just the way it's being used is weird. And if people are going to be using it to rewrite history and to push a revisionist history narrative, then I'm definitely not interested in re-embracing that word. I don't see any reason to. I mean, you got people over here saying light skin is a different race, so why? It's just, yeah, I feel like all these freaking terms, yeah, anyway.